Let's go. Welcome everyone to this session, the second session we are doing here in Startup Weeks. We are in place again.
Yes.
To help Alex through this session. I will let Alex introduce himself, but he will go through pitch and decks, and I think he's the perfect person to do this. Just some practical stuff is that I think everybody mute themselves. So if you have any noise behind you, it won't disturb everyone else. We can do questions when Alex is done with his session. I've also put a link in the chat where you can go to our Slack channel. Everybody who joined these sections gets an invite for this Slack channel, where you can ask questions and also connect with Alex, us, and other participants after this session. Yeah. You wanna? Yeah. Let's go from there.
Someone that wants to join.
All right, perfect. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. If no one here, if it's a bad sound for anyone, just shout out.
I think everybody hears me.
Yes, in the chat as well. So
yes, from the chat. So you can go, Alex. Take it from here.
Thanks very much. My name is Alex Esser, and I work as responsible for growth capital at Connect Sweden. Basically, we are a business angel network present in 6 regions, and I'm responsible for investment capital here in the South region. Before joining Connect, I was entrepreneur twice at Mink, 2010 and 2012, working first on a financial startup and then on a music startup, which was partnering up with Spotify. For both companies, we raised round investments. So I have been both on the startup side, raising investment, and now working with investors investing in startups. Since we only have 30 minutes, I'd like to break it down like this. I'll make a short introduction of Connect, our business angel network, a bit shorter than 5 minutes. Then I will deep dive into how to create a perfect pitch deck for your product and your startup. And the last 10 minutes we will spend for asking questions, and I will do my best to answer them as good as I can. All right. So just a quick intro to Connect. We have 140 business angels connected to us here in the region in Helsingborg, Malmö, Lund, and around. We coach around 60 startups every year. We have around 200 applying to our program every year. What we look in at particular is a startup with established team. That means more than one person, that there is certain level of innovation. We usually look in traction, that you are already out on the market with a few customers, or at least have some letter of intent from potential customers. And long term, we are looking for return on investment of 5 to 10 times. So this is our deal flow, 200 requests per year. Some 60 startups get admitted. Of those, we coach them in pitching and perfect the pitch decks and in investment proposal. 30 of them get selected to pitch our investors live. It's about 60 people in the audience, and the recorded pitch gets sent out to everybody in Connect Sweden. Of those who pitch, the about 60% success rate to get the investment. It's definitely on the seed level. We turned over 57 million in South Sweden in 2018, and the medium investment in a startup we are coaching is about 3.2 million. So that's our background. So we're basically on the seed level before VC. I'm here to talk about how to make a good pitch deck to attract the investors. You will get a lot of advice from me. I hope you can take something, 1 or 2 points at least, and implement in your own um, company and your startup. It might be a bit of information overload, but that's why we have 10 minutes of questions in the end. When you are doing a pitch deck, and we are talking specifically about pitch decks when you present live for the audience, I'm always looking for 30, 20, 10 rule. So the font should be at least 30. There should be no more than 20 slides in your pitch deck. And don't put more than 10 words on every slide, because the investors are looking at you and your team and how well you are selling the product. As soon as you put too much technical stuff on the background, on the slides behind you, you lose their attention. And if there's too much information in the slides, they just don't keep up the pace if you do a 5 or 10 or 15-minute speech. So keep it simple, focus on yourself and presenting the solution and the market rather than trying to put in as much information in the slides. That's the most common mistake. So a good pitch deck, according to our perspective, and this can vary a bit, should be speaking about the product, your vision with the product, what kind of problem you are solving with your solution, target market, your business model, how you will make money on that, and the team behind the startup. There should always also be the investor perspective, which many people miss. Most of the time, when you're pitching investors, you're looking for money. Make sure to put the amount and what you're looking for into the pitch deck. Many people forget to do that. And create a forecast scenario. If you get the investment today, where will you be in 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years? You can also mention the next round. If you're gonna expand internationally or something like that, it will be needing more investments and a potential exit. So that's the 3 perspectives we will be talking about today. Right, so most of the companies we meet are passionate product builders, and they love talking about the fantastic products we build. Most of the time, the most common mistakes we see with entrepreneurs is they spend the entire time, 5 or 10 minutes of the pitch time they have, talking about their amazing products and the features of their amazing product. And that makes sense because you spent 2,000 hours building your amazing startup and your product. It can be everything about the small features, how well it integrates with Google Cloud or Dropbox, or how well the logo shifts on the black and white background. That's good. It's good to be passionate about the product, but I think a good pitch deck needs to move very quickly to the next perspective, not only product pitch, but much more of a market perspective, a market pitch. I would love you to think about the product more as a vision. What kind of problem will my product solve for the customers out there? For example, we are building an online tool for signing digital contracts. This means we will save our customers some 40 hours every month that they can do contracting online instead of printing and signing. This means they will be able to spend less time at work or be more efficient at work, or spend less time at work and go home and spend more time with the families. That's the vision of the product. Basically, you need to also explain a customer problem. For example, we talked to some 5 business owners out there, and they all have the same problem. When signing a new client, they have to print out the contract, they have to sign it manually, they put it in an envelope and send it to the client. Then the client complains about some changes need to be done to the contract. Then they send it back and forth, lots of paper being printed and so on. And we solve it by putting the whole contract handling online into the cloud digitally. The slides you use for live presentation don't have to be more advanced than these. Try not to put screenshots or too many features of your product in the slides. Rather, tell the investors the story of how you solve the customer problem. Next step is obviously the market. And here we go a bit more into the details. You put your product or your solution into a global market perspective, trying to explain how you will actually monetize on this. For example, we talked to 20 Swedish companies and realized that they're willing to pay something around 50 euros a month for our solution. We looked at whole Sweden and realized there are 250 potential customers here. We also look at Norway, that will be our next market. The buying power there is a bit higher, 60 euros a month, but there are few customers, a bit fewer customers. Our third obvious market will be Germany with a whopping 1 million potential customers. So if we enter these three markets within 2 years, there's a total potential customer base of 1.4 million. They pay on average 50 euros a month for a product. And if you take 10% of the whole market, we will make 84 million euros a year. So here you are talking in the investor language, explaining how your amazing product that you love so much will generate these amounts of revenue if you get the investment today to expand it. As I said before, 30, 20, 10, it looks even cleaner with less words and just using the few numbers behind you to strengthen what you're actually saying to your audience. You can also explain the market in types of different users. For example, I know one user will be paying premium of 5,000 kronas a month, but while the mini one team user will be paying something like 50. So explain what kind of price tiers you might want to have for your product and how you will reach your customers. Next obvious step is to explain the business model. Is it a hardware, for example, electric car that you will be owning but leasing out to your customers? Is an app with a freemium model that you want to get as many free customers as possible and maybe convert 2% of them to paying ones? Is it recurring revenue like with Spotify, subscription, or are you selling some kind of software credits that you buy for X amount of money and then you use them in this for this solution? They can be a lot of these. Really try to explain how much you're making on every customer and when the revenue is occurring, not just 3,500 per year, but how long time does it take you from the first customer to actually get them profitable. It might also be important to mention the go-to-market strategy here. Is it business to business? Is it a consumer app that you will market solely on the social media? Did you already put up a landing page and got the first 1,000 emails for potential customers looking for this product? Or will you hire a team of telesales people selling this solution, business to business, to other companies? This is very important, and this is very much connected to your team, whom you have on board, and this is very much connected to the investors you're looking for, because the investors usually have background entrepreneurs, and some of them are very skilled in these particular areas and can help you out with this. Connecting it to the team is definitely the most important ingredient in a startup. A good team slide can look like this. This is Anna, our CEO. She has a background at Spotify. James, who will be working our sales, has been working at KPMG and Nordea as a salesperson. And Clara, our fantastic designer, has been at Airbnb working with the user interface experience. Once again, you can make it even cleaner by removing the actual titles and explaining what these people have been doing before. So that's the level 2 of pitch deck. The first one was about product perspective. The second one we just explained was, we just went through was the market perspective. And once again, we see very many entrepreneurs forgetting the third level, which we think is the most important one. And it's the investor perspective. It's very important to know what you are looking for. If you are looking for 2 million Swedish or 200,000 euro investment, make sure to put it on the slides. We see many entrepreneurs doing an amazing pitch, but in the end of the pitch, the investor doesn't know what you're looking for. So make sure to put it out there. We are looking for an investment of 200,000 euros at a valuation of 1 million, which will give you 20% of the company. As we explained, we will be moving into European market, Norway, Germany, etc. For that, we need to register a patent. This will take 16% of the investment. We have 3 in-house developers and 1 designer. They're amazing, and we will be paying them salary, so 24% will go there. Product needs a bit of manufacturing or some kind of licensing, so there are 20% going there. And the last, most important 40% in this case are going into hiring salespeople and implementing online marketing strategy, right? So this is really the way to break down the investment for investor. Don't just go there saying, we need 2 million. Make sure to say, we need 2 million because we need to do this, this, and that. And that will bring us here. If we get the money from you today, by the end of 2020, we will have 2.5 thousand paying users that will generate this amount of revenue. In 2021, we will double the user base and enter, for example, Norway or Germany, and that's our revenue there. 2022, we will hire more people and reach 10,000 users having more sales, and that's our numbers in 2023. So the investment is always connected to the forecasts. If you will take the money from investors now, they really want to know how you will use it and how much the money will boost your journey forward. Many times you can connect this slide to the current investment and the future investment rounds. For example, we need 200,000 euros now to reach this amount of users in 2021. Then we will really need to expand further internationally, and our next round will be 600,000. This is always a good thing to have on the slides already, if you can predict this. So the investor feels safe, understands your business model, and understands that you will need more money and will probably go to round 2, round 3, and maybe a VC round. Usually, this early on, it's hard to predict the potential exit. But, well, most of the investors are looking for an exit 5 to 10 to 15 years ahead. If they will take the money out of the savings account and put into your company at a much higher risk, with a risk to never see the money again, they already now need to know that you are willing to sell the company further on and return their money at 2 to 5 to 10 times the value. It can be very hard to predict an exit this early on, but you can always look at similar companies being sold to major players, or at least identify 4 or 5 potential big companies that would be interested in acquiring your particular solution into their portfolio 5 to 10 years ahead. And I think that's it for me on the pitch decks. You have my email right there, and it will be sent out to everyone. I'm here to take your questions.
Cool. Great, Alex. And yeah, I think a big
round of applause. Yeah,
big round of applause.
definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it was some really straightforward, concrete tips on how to build your pitch. And I want to say thank you to Alex, and let's move on. See if we have any questions out there.
We just had a question about from Marcus that they thought you would they need some more elaborate explanation of the concept of the exit. Could you just?
Of course, it depends on the company, but most of the time, if I as investor want to put my money into a company and maybe get 20% of the shares, I want to understand how can I unlock this capital 5 or 10 years ahead. So most of the time, raising investment, you kind of commit to investors that you will try to sell off the whole company 10 or 15 years from now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, Marcus, do you have any follow-up on that one? Just give a shout out and we will let you in. Yes, otherwise I have one question. You were talking about the team, and that's maybe the most important part for in the pitch and for from the investor perspective. How important do you think it is that the founder and the team have some sort of unique experience from the product and the market they are operating in? Should they have been working in this, or how do you see any like correlation between success and founders that are working in the same space that they have been before?
All right. I think most important ingredient, number one, is that the team are really passionate about the startup and that they work well together. It's like getting married for 5, 10, or 15 years and like being best friends in both in the best case, but also in the worst cases. But of course, it helps a lot if you have somebody on the team or maybe somebody on the board or via the investors who's done a similar journey before and understands the dynamics of the particular market you're entering.
Yeah. Do you have? We have one.
We have one very long question.
Can we? Can we bring her in and she can ask it?
Maybe Hannah.
Hannah,
you want to answer? You want to?
Hannah Johnson, can you unmute yourself and please
ask the question?
And ask the question?
Exit strategy.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Can you see me? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know Simon Sinek?
I don't.
Okay, he's like online all the time, and he works with companies to help them. He helps them in many ways. And he says that if they have an exit strategy, he will not help them because then they prepare to fail, and that they are not actually building a sustainable company, but only like a sellable company. Do you see what I mean?
All right. Yeah, definitely. I think there are so many good potential companies out there not looking for an exit. I think if you're really passionate about something, you should build your own company that is like a slow grower and work with that for the rest of your life. you really love it. From the investor perspective in startups, the investors are looking for some kind of return investment. That's the reason they put the money into a company. And most of the time they're looking for unicorns like Spotify, Klarna, or something like that. All of them have been sold to a bigger player or sold to a VC company that reinvests into them. So that's how it works. But I don't want to discourage anyone from building a sustainable, healthy business without an exit strategy. It will be harder to get the investment though.
Yeah. Do they only get the money back from when the person sells the company?
It's quite tricky to generate enough revenue so they get the money back from the dividends, utdelning, over the years. So most of the time, the money is generated at the exit when, for example, Spotify get introduced on Nasdaq, or when a bigger player like PostNord or Tetra Pak or IKEA acquires your solution.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, perfect, Eleanor. Welcome.
First of all, Alex, thank you so much. This was such a great presentation. I'm wondering if you could speak a bit about the current times that we're in with like Corona and all the uncertainty, and how you might approach investors in these times.
I'm glad you asked, because we're actually conducting a study with all our investors at the moment, both in Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Skåne. About 50% of them are on hold until June, approximately. About 50% of them say that it's business as usual, especially in the companies with a bit more of a long-term strategy, looking at Q4, Q1, 2021, and so on. Because obviously some sectors like travel, hotel, and so on are really affected, but for many sectors, this will be business as usual. And some of the investors are actually saying that this is the right time to innovate and be creative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if yeah, okay. He said he got his answer as well, because the next question was pretty much the same one. So
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Any question? You want any question?
No questions.
So Marcus here, I have a question. I can ask a question. Is my camera on? So hi Alex, thank you very much for this introduction. So I'm responsible for the course. We have a bunch of students here in the meeting today. That's great to see. So in this course, we do some pitching this week as well, but we don't have investors in the course. So we do sales pitching to an open market or a fake market. It's the course. So different groups buy and sell stuff. So how would you adapt your pitching strategies if the receiver of the messages is a potential customer rather than an investor? Do you have any experience on that?
I would talk more about the product, obviously, and what kind of problem it solves. I don't think the customer really cares how many other customers he will take in Germany or something like that. When it comes to customer sales, from my personal experience, it's more about a dialogue rather than a pitch. So make sure to have as many cliffhangers as possible in your customer presentation, so you can actually ask the questions to the audience who eventually, hopefully, will buy your product. So it's more of a dialogue rather than monologue, yeah?
Yeah, it is. So what we're working on now is video pitching, actually. So we will have a one-way communication event next week, but of course adding cliffhangers there is good advice to create opportunities for future dialogue, I guess, after the video pitch. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, just one last question, just to round it up. You said you just did a study with the investors that you have, but what would you say is the biggest challenge going ahead, and what is the biggest opportunity going forward?
I think there is a big opportunity in digital space. For example, Zoom, the app we are using right now, I think I bought some shares 2 weeks ago, and now they're up something like 50%. So it's really a popular new software at the moment. At the moment, they have some security issues though, so it might not be the best opportunity, but I think there will be lots of new digital startups exploring remote work right now for the next 3 months. And after the crisis, some of them will be adapted into our everyday environment. So I think there is an interesting opportunity for adapting those even to the quiet times ahead or to the normal times ahead. Yeah, and obviously the travel and the hotel sector might have some trouble further on, but it might be back to business as usual already in 2021.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, then yes, then let's wrap it up. Thank you very much, Alex, again. Is it possible for you to put the slides in our Slack channel so everybody can look at them there? You have the link to the Slack channel. Yeah, that's my first message in chat. So if you want to join there, just go in, and if you want to connect with Alex, where can they find you?
You can find me on my email, which is in the pitch deck, or at connectsveria.se.
Perfect, perfect. Then, okay, then thank you very much for this week. We hopefully will get back next week with another session. So keep an eye on us at Facebook and the other channels. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.